given it some of the example. I've given it some of the examples to compute, and it has computed. Up to this juncture, I hope everyone can see my screen. So, for example, I want to give it another example outside maybe that program. I want it to print now the GCD. Sorry. I want it now to print the GCD. Numbers, which you like. Am I audible?
Yeah, the GCD of
Okay.
96 and 72.
Okay, 96 and 72. That is it. You see, when I compute using your traditional method, you'll find the GCD is 24. Another one. Who else can give us his or her example? If there is nobody, let me give it GCD of 34 and 67. It will give us 1. In other case now, you might decide to say x. X is equals to a number such as 76, 96 minus x, it will just give you minus x. That way, when you will run, it will still give you the GCD. So that is just a simple example. That is just a simple. The other thing which you are going to tackle is the main function. This is just a function that helps us to organize the code. It is common for Python programmer to use function named main. We have not placed within the function. So when you want to organize your code, that is now where you come up with the main function, and the main function, it is just for organization. It will be enable you maybe to call some of the variables within the body. For example, here I want to compute the same GCD. Now in this case, when I compute the same GCD, you see I've written the same codes which I had written above here, I've repeated to write it again here. But now in this code, I'm now introducing the main function. What is the purpose of the main function? It will help me to organize my codes. So the first thing I want to get, after I've written the program to compute the GCD, I want to get an integer from the user. So I will define get int. That means I want to get an integer from the user, and it will return for me those integers. And how will it return? It will return int input. Please enter an integer. So this program, it will tell me to please enter an integer. Now I'm introducing now the main function. Now look, the main function, this will enable now the program to know the main code to execute. It will enable the program to know the main code to execute. And how will it know the main code? The main code in this program, in these codes, what the main code to execute in this program is get int, because the program has to get int first for it to compute the GCD. So I'll use now the main function. It is just for organization. This is just for organization, and you'll see it will be more organized. So I'll say diff main. I'm defining my main. Then for me to get GCD, I have to enter a numerical N1 or N2. And this main code that has to be executed, I've defined it as get int. So I'll say N1 is equals to get int, N2 is equals to get int. Then now it will print now for me the GCD. After it has printed for me the GCD, I have to finish it. You have to note, when you define the main function, you have now to finish it by calling the same main function. That is why now you see here I'm calling the main function so that it can enable the program to run. So when I will run this program, you see it is not like the first one. This is now, it is just like a program. It gives me an empty bar below there. So I want to get the GCD of a number such as 34. And you see now this one is more organized. It is more organized. It is asking me for a number such as 34. And now it is asking me for the second number. I give it 88. When I press enter, it gives me that I wanted to compute the GCD of a number, and my numbers are 34 and 98, which it will give me, its GCD will be 2. So the main purpose of the main function is just it helps to organize the code. So that is what you should know. Its main purpose is just to organize the code. So the main function calls this main function, it calls the main functions, which in turn calls several other functions. As you have seen, I've finished here with main. It will call the main function, which I've defined here, which in turn it calls other functions such as get int and print, GCD, string. It calls any other function above it. So in a nutshell, the main function is just used to organize your code. Then the other thing is about parameter passing. You have to know what is a parameter passing. When a class calls a function that expects a parameter, the client must pass a parameter to the function. So I've told you that there are some parameter which there are some functions which doesn't expect a parameter. It is just empty brackets. But when a client calls a function that expects a parameter, a client must pass a parameter. What is this passing the parameter? You must enter these parameters. The process behind parameter passing in Python is just simple. The function call binds to the formal parameter to the object referenced by the actual parameter. I want to explain it in a layman's language. You have just to, the first thing is to define your parameter. Then the first thing is to define your function. Then after defining your function, you have to pass your parameter. By passing your parameter, it means you enter the parameter of the functions which you have already defined. The other thing, why I'm reading this, I want you to get something. The kind of object we have considered so far are integers, floating point numbers, and strings are classified as immutable object. I want you to note immutable object. What are immutable objects? These are objects that a programmer cannot change its value. So that is an examinable point. Immutable objects are objects that a programmer cannot change its value. Immutable objects are objects that a programmer cannot change its value. For example, the assignment. For example, the assignment. For example, you have the assignment x is equals to 4. This means it binds the variable named x to the integer 4. We might change x by assign it, but we cannot change the integer 4. Immutable object, they are objects that a programmer cannot change its value. Immutable object, they are objects that a programmer cannot change its value. So I want, then the second thing I want you to get my function. I've defined, I have a function which is I will have to start by defining it by saying def increment. So what I'm passing in inside the bracket is what we call. So I am saying print beginning execution of increment. So the execution of increment, it starts at X. And when it starts at X, I want it to be so when I want it to be increasing by 1, how am I going to do it? I want this X. When I enter X, I want it to be increasing by 1. So that is why now you see here, I'm saying X plus is equals to 1. This means I will want X to be increasing by 1. Then after it has increased, I want it to end the execution. So as I've told you, the main function in Python programming is just used to organize your codes. So that is why here you see now, for example, when I give it my initial 5, so that means that 5, it will print it. Then it will just increase by 1. It will go up to 6. And after it goes up to 6, it ends the execution. It ends the execution. So what I want you to master is not all this code. It's just how to define this increment and how to pass it. So these things which I have it in bracket, that is what we call parameter passing. What I'm trying to pass is X. So for example, when I give this X the value 5, it will just increase by 1 to go to 6, and then it stops there or it ends there. So when I'll run, you will see it tells me before increment X is equals to 5, and it began execution X is equal. I don't know why I was thrown out. Don't know. I hope everyone can see my screen. So what I was saying is now what I'm passing is X, which the thing which I want you to note, everything which is being passed, it comes after the definition. When I say def increment, then in bracket X, this X is the variable which is being passed. Then I want it to be increasing in a sequence of 1 or 2 or 3 in Python programming. You see X plus is equals to 1. So I want it to increase by 1. And after it has increased by 1, it ends the execution. That is why when I enter a number such as 5, it will X is equals to 6, and it stops increment. So when I run, that is why you see my first number was 5. That is now it began execution at 5, and then it ended the execution at 6. For example, if I change it and I put a number such as 10, and I run the same, you see it will tell me before increment the value was 10, and it began execution at 10, it ended the execution at 11. So what I want you to note, is not all this code, because that is not very important. What I want you to note is how now to pass the parameter. The parameter is normally passed in between the brackets. So this first def is this first line is what carries the parameter passing. When you want to pass a parameter, you normally put it inside the bracket of what you want to pass, of a variable of which you want to pass. For example, in this case, a variable which you want to pass is x. So up to that juncture, we are through with our first part of this chapter 7. We are remaining with around 20 minutes for lesson to end. I'll go and open now the second part. In this one, I prepared different notebooks because this chapter has got a lot of infinite loops. And when you have a lot of infinite loops, you don't normally prepare it in one given notebook because it will crash. That is why my first one crashed. The other thing, I just pass through what is important for your certification. The other thing, I don't pass through it. I will not pass through it.
We should,
Yes.
because you said this area is
Yes.
examinable. Is it possible you repeat this with the last statements that you're making? Diff, main, X, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no problem. I'll just repeat. Because here I'm not going to pass through these codes. If you will pass through it for your fun, it is well and good. But this one, it will not be examinable. What it will be examinable here, it will just be application of applications of diff functions, application of diff function. So the first application of diff function is a better organized prime generator. So when you want to generate prime numbers, you can use those diff functions. It is used in prime numbers generation. So we normally call it better organized prime generator. Why is it called a better organized prime generator? Because when you want an organized prime number generator, you will use the main function in together with its prime function. Its prime function is just used when you want to get prime numbers within a certain range. For example, when I run this example and I want to get prime numbers up to 100 and I press enter, it will give me all prime numbers starting from 1 up to 100. So the first application of function definition is for the generation of the second application. For example, now you want to make a very simple, it can prompt the user to see you can quit or exit the program. Or it is another application of functions definition. So for example, when I have this program, you see it it has given me add, subtract, print, help, quit. Capital A, and it will allow me to enter argument 1, for example, 12, and argument 2, 23, and it gives me the results, which is 35. And after it has given me the results, which is 35, I might decide to print print. I put there P, and it will print 35. Or I might decide to seek help. After I seek help, it will give me the options for the help. And after I've seek the help, I might decide to quit. I give is in the generation of prime numbers. The second application, it is restricted input. When a programmer wants to make a program which insists that you have to enter a certain value. For example, if you fail to enter that value, the program will keep on insisting until when you will enter the right to the first one I've told you, it is command interpreter. The third thing now, it is the program wants for it to be executed and exit the loop. For example, in this case, I've made this program. You see this program, it is asking me, please enter value in the range 10 to 20. When I enter 7, it will keep on insisting. 7 is not in the range 10 to 20. Please try again. When I enter 5, it will keep on insisting. 5 is not range, it will be executed, and it give me 10. Then it wants to confirm again. Please enter the value in the range 10 to 20. When I enter 7, on insisting. But when I enter 15, please enter the value in the range 5. When I enter 2, it will keep on insisting. But when it asks me, please enter the value in the range negative 100 to 100. When I enter 456, it will keep on insisting. But when I enter 66, there's another application of function definition. It is in the is restricted input program, what it requires. Then another application is in beta die rolling simulator. When you want to make a die game, definitions. You see, that is just a die. Another application is in drawing a tree. When you want to draw a tree of different heights, and you saw how we did it in chapter 5, that is another application of function definitions. For example, when I run this, and I want to draw a tree of height 2, I give 2. You see it has drawn for me that tree. When I want to draw a tree, for example, I'll give that, and it will draw for me a tree of that height. It will draw for me a tree of that height. And when you count, it has 50 layers. When I want to draw a tree, for example, of height 5, it will draw it. And when you count, you see it has 5 layers. So that is it. The other thing, where it is a floating point equality. That is where now I want you to be very keen, floating point equality, because this now it is examinable and you can be asked to write those codes. In those other parts, you can't be asked to write the codes, but in this part, you can be asked to write the codes. So for example, you want to make a program. You want to make a program. In this program, I'm defining my main. So I've told you now my function here is main. So you have to define the function. So you say diff main, then in those brackets you end with adding x to a variable 0.9. Then I want 0.19, you add it to 0.1, you will get 1.0. So I'm applying what we learned in chapter 5, if else statement. If x is equal to else print not okay. So I'm making this program in such a way when it will get the value of x is equals to 1, it will print okay. But when it will get the value of x is not equal to 1, it will print not okay. And now I'm finishing it with the main, because this main is what we defined here. What you have defined here, you have to finish with it for the body to be executed. That is the meaning now. You see, I've defined the main, and I'm finishing here by saying main. I open and close the brackets. So when I run, you see it will tell me okay. When I run, it will tell me okay. What if now I will put here an increment of 0.2? When I will put there an increment of 0.2, so x is not equal to 1.0. So it will print for me not. So if I run this code, you'll see it will write for me not okay, because in this condition I've said if x is equals to 1, print okay. But in this case now, when you add 0.9 and 0.2, you get 1.1. So x is not equals to 1.0. Then another example under the same is where now you want to count. I say diff main. That is my main function. Then I want to count from 0.0. I'm using while. While I is not equal to this exclamation mark and equal to, it means not equal to 1, print I. And this, when it prints I, it should be in an increment of 0.1. So if it has started printed 1.1, it should go to 1.2, 1.3 in that order. And then I say main. Main is just to invoke an invocation function that now it calls what I've written in the body. So when you see when I run, you see it has started printing. Yeah. And the reason why at first I had not run it, this is an infinite loop. It makes the Jupyter Notebook to be unimaginable, so big, and it can cause it to crash. And it will just continue to print until Jesus comes. So for you to stop that behavior, you have to interrupt. That is why you have seen now in this chapter, I'm not making just one Jupyter Notebook in a chapter. I'm making different because of this infinite behavior. So for me to stop it, I have to go there and go to the kernel and interrupt. So when I've interrupted, you see now it stops. But sometimes these types of infinite loops can really mess with your Jupyter Notebook. So that is why sometimes I normally prefer not to run them. The other thing is now I want to get the absolute values. And as I taught you, it is from the math library. And we normally say from math import fabs. That fabs is when you just want to get those absolute values. So for intermediate exam, what will be tested The third example is normally considered to be too complex. That one will not be tested. That one will not be tested. So up to that juncture, yeah, I think we have covered 75% of chapter 7. Next week, we'll just finish on that 25%, and then we embark on chapter 8. So there is something which one of the members had asked in this other Jupyter notebook. Yeah, we had asked because this is examinable. I repeat it. This is just parameter passing. What I want you to note is not that long and complex code. What I want you to note is how to pass a parameter. How to pass a parameter is just to enter the variables or the values inside that bracket of definition. For example, diff increment, then you see those brackets. Then I told you, you can have an argument, you can have an empty parameter, or you can have an argument. So when you have an argument, such as x, that means you have passed the parameter. It is as simple as that. I don't expect you to cram all that code. You just have to master it, because most of the time in that certification, you'll be given a code. You'll be given a code and you will be asked if this code will run or not. And if it will run, what will be the results? So what will be expected when you are doing that certification, you have your blank Jupyter notebook open. You have your blank Jupyter notebook open, so that when you have been given a code in that exam, you just copy that code straight and you run it in your blank Jupyter notebook. When it gives you an error, so it means the answer in that examination, they were expecting an error. So you will select a multiple choice, which is an error. So what I just want you to learn is to be very, you must have very high speed in coding, because in that exam, you can't copy paste. The way I'm doing it here. For example, the way I'm doing it here, I copy and I paste. No, they have deactivated those copy pasting capabilities. So you just have to write a code one by one, and you just have to know. If you are writing a code one by one, you just have to know, after I've written def or for I in range, I must do indentation. So you write those codes very fast. It is normally very easy. When you have been given a code there, you just write that code exact way it is. If it throws an error, it means the answer for that question, it is an error. If it gives an answer, you will just see the answer for that question, it is there. So for that examination, you have just to be fast in typing codes, very fast, and you can get everything. You can get everything. For example, in my case, I got almost everything within only 40 minutes when I was doing it for my first time. You have just to be very good in coding, writing codes as fast as possible, because they have deactivated the copy pasting capabilities. That is it. Up to that end, that is the end of our lesson today, unless you have got any question. Any question, please, or I look at the charts.
I don't see a question in the chats. Let me look. It's just Dan Onunga who had an error.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there was.
but right now there are no questions in the chat.
I saw a question in the chat, but why I'm not seeing it right now. I saw there was somebody who had taken a screenshot.
Yes, and I can see your error. Dan, for I in range 1, min plus 1, you haven't put a semicolon in the end of that statement. That is why you are a colon,
There was,
not a semicolon.
but There's a colon at the end of the bracket.
Yes, after the bracket, you're supposed to put a colon.
Yes, I did.
Yes, that was your error. I don't see any questions here, sir.
But I put it and it's not coming.
Okay.
Okay, if you could share, if done, you could
I think
screenshot again. Maybe Mr. Bushru will
just
help you.
share your screen. Just share your screen for us to see.
Yeah, let me check. Copy. Copy. Yes, I've shared it now.
Have you shared your screen?
Hope so. I hope you're seeing
Or
it.
you have shared the screenshot?
Yeah, the screenshot is what I'm sharing.
Share the screen so that we can just correct it as other people are seeing where you got the error.
Let me see.
I think, yeah, I've seen where your error is coming from, but you should share your screen so that other people can get it exactly.
I
where you
can't
are
share
not
when you
getting
are
it.
sharing. I can't share when you are sharing. Let me
Can't
see if
share.
I can share.
No,
You
let me just
cannot
correct.
start sharing while the other participants is sharing. So you are still sharing.
Okay, let me correct you. What Yvonne was telling you, it was right. Look at your code number, line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at your code number 5. Line number 5.
Let me see.
Are you there? Yeah, line number 5. That was where a mistake is arising. Line number 5.
Let me see.
Line number 5. You have not indented. That is why you are getting the.
Seemingly, I've lost that number. Yes, you've not been doing some things here. No. GCD.
If new, you have it.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you pushing
I
it?
did it. Yes, it is there.
Are you seeing my screen?
Then
how I have pushed it? Mine is. It has to align with the for I, where I is, because in yours it is here. So you have to push it. When you push it for the first time, it becomes red. So you have to push it until it changes to green. Are you seeing my screen?
Oh yeah, now I'm seeing.
At first, yours was here. And when it was here, when you try to run, it gave you an error. So you have to push. When I push it for the first time, it is red, isn't it? You have to push it until it becomes green. So when I push it for the second time, it is still red. When I push it for the third time, it is still red. But when I push it for the fourth time, it becomes green. And when I will run it, it won't give me the error.
So I also now have to indent the largest factor now again.
No, just do it. It will give. No, don't
Yeah,
indent
I've
the
done
largest
it, but
factor.
now it is bringing an error on the largest factor, which is says
now,
expected on the indented.
Yeah, you have also to indent it.
Now
and
it is.
How will you indent it? Let me show you how you indent it. You see, I've put my cursor at the largest factor, isn't it?
Yes.
When I try to move it back like this, it aligns. It aligns, and it should not be alliance. This L, this capital L, it should be in between N and M. This, if num1, it should be in between. So I will have to push it. You see, when I push it for the first time, it becomes red, isn't it? Yes. Have you seen how I've pushed it for the first time?
Yeah.
It becomes red. So I have to push it until it becomes green, or it changes the color from red. Red, it means danger in programming. So I'll push it again. It is still red. I'll push it again, still red. I'll push it again. It has changed in color. When now it has changed in color, that means now it will run.
Is this thing X equal or X minus?
Well,
The print number, print GCD into bracket X. Is it X equal?
X minus 2.
Oh, it is X minus.
Yes.
Okay. But why is it that this GCD for 3624, 36 is it 24, is giving me 24?
Yes.
When I say print GCD 36,24, then that GC gives me 24. Let me share my screen if I'm able. I don't know.
But
I'm saying if I have I put the GCD,
yes.
then the GCD print GCD 36,24.
Yes.
Then when I
Yes.
print, it gives me 24. The GCD for that gives me 24.
Yes.
Not 12.
When you print. Hello?
Yes.
Levy,
Yeah, when I print.
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
can you kindly, okay, from this code,
Yes.
where we are prompting now the code to give us the GCD of 36 and 24.
Yes.
Let us remove from X and below. Just cut it and then try and run. Just cut it. Cut from 18 downwards.
There is no need of cutting. You just comment.
Okay, just comment, yes. Just comment.
Okay.
Then, so the GCD of 36 and 24 is 12.
Yeah, it's 12. And
Yes.
Dan is saying that he's getting 24.
Maybe the problem is indentation, the way you've just said. There's a way when you don't do indentation properly,
Yes.
it gives you the wrong values. Sometimes.
Problem of this.
Sorry, I had been thrown out of the meeting. I don't know why. Zoom is really misbehaving.
Can I try to share my screen if that can make sense?
Yeah, share your screen. I'm sure it is your indentation.
Okay. Just give me a minute. This one here.
People have really tried it today. I'm seeing the number is very high. There is nobody who has run.
I'm assuming you're able to see the screen, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know whether this
Yes,
is
I'm quite able to see a screen.
So when just a minute, what I was saying,
it is up there. It is up there. It is up there. What you are asking, it is up there.
Yes. So you see, when I have this GCD 3624, you see that gives me 24. Yes. And when I have this one, it gives me 12 instead of 8. So I'm wondering, what you had was 8. Where the problem could be lying?
Let me see. I'm seeing your indentation is right. You said GCD num 2. Yes. Mean is equals to num 1 if num is less than num 2, else num 2. That is okay. Let me see the third part. Num 2 is, yeah, that is okay. Then the third part, you have set your largest factor. Yeah, let me see your largest factor. You have said largest factor is 1. Yeah, that is it. Then you have said if num 1 is modular, remainder 1 is equal to
largest factor 1.
Yes.
Largest factor is 1.
If num 1 remainder 1 is equal to 0, and num 2 you gave your program 2 confusing commands. I've seen why you are getting it wrong. Now look here.
This is remainder 1.
It is you are confusing. You are just now run. When you run, you'll get now the correct thing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, everything here is I. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thanks. I see.
And it will just give you the answer, whatsoever you'll give it, so long as you have followed the rules of programming.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
But you had entered the wrong format.
Yeah, so those small things are the ones that is a challenge.
Yeah.
But of course, you are saying that the computer, those guys, when they're testing, they will give you a code that you just code in and see if then you get you choose the answer.
Yeah, you choose the answer. That is what it is there. When you are given the code, when you are opening, in fact, I normally advise people, when you are doing that certification, you must have 2 computers. One computer, it is the one which you are reading the questions from, and the other computer, it is the one which you have opened the Jupyter Notebook with.
And which one are you answering?
Yes.
Which other one are you using to answer?
Now it is like I think those primary school mathematics paper, isn't it? When you are doing primary school maths examination, you had some papers where you are working, but you will not collect your work with those. I don't know if you are getting me. You will not collect your sheets with what you have.
Where you're doing rough work.
Where you are doing rough work. So you must have 2 laptops. The first laptop, it is for your rough work, and your rough work here is your Jupyter Notebook. This is where now, when you are in that certification, if you have gotten anything pertaining the codes, that is where now you do it in this other computer. And after you have gotten the answer, you use now the main computer, which you have opened with it, the website for the Python Institute. So
both of them must have the programming, the Jupyter Notebook, or you can use the one.
No, the one which has the Jupyter Notebook, is the one which is now acts as your rough book. This other one, it should not have the Jupyter Notebook, because this one you are just using to go into the website. To answer the questions. Yes, you must have two. So that ability to copy paste. Good in coding very fast. And you must know where to indent. For example, but maybe instead of putting the I, you have put 1. It will give you a different result, 1. So under the multiple choice, they will give you 24 and 12. Are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting.
Yeah, they normally know. Yeah, they normally know that there's some people will confuse between I and 1. So they will give you all those, the first one, A. Then this 12, they'll give you as maybe C. Or they give you all of them.
Sir, sorry.
All questions are multiple choice questions?
Yeah, they are multiple choice questions.
All right.
Sir, a minute. There is another class starting at 8 p.m. and now it's 7:47. So if we could please wrap this up, I would really appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, I was just answering Dr. Onunga's question and I've just finished. I don't know if there is any other person who has got a question. Okay, thank you. So before I wrap it off, I want to show you, we have created a Gmail account for this class, because I realized that some of you, your WhatsApp is not compatible in downloading the Jupyter Notebook. So I've created a WhatsApp group, not a WhatsApp, Gmail. And I want you to, all of you, to have this Gmail, because sometimes due to your schedule, maybe some people are not able to pass through the chats. So our Gmail, I'm copying it right again, so that each and everyone can get it and you save it somewhere. This is our Gmail. So anything that you will not be able to download in the WhatsApp, anything you will not be able to download in the WhatsApp, you will be in a position now to get it in our Gmail. You will be in a position to get you will be able to get it in our Gmail. So that is our Gmail account. It is pythonclass47@gmail.com. Then the password is evil at 2023. So any person who has encountered a challenge in downloading those Jupyter Notebook through the WhatsApp, I've sent all of them in that Gmail. And I hope now, from now, you'll not be having any difficulties. Up to that end, let me see, is concerning me. I think those are Google Forms, just to check attendance. Make sure you sign them before you call it a day. Up to that juncture, I wish you all the best as you retire for your nights, and have a wonderful time.
Thank you, sir, for the great effort.
Okay. Thank you too, Ruben.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that class, and thank you everyone for attending. Kindly sign the attendance form in the chats before 7:53. I'm giving you 3 minutes to sign it before I end this meeting. Kindly hurry up, because there is another meeting starting at exactly 10 minutes. Thank you.